I think it was about like 2 years ago when I decided to make that choice mentally that I was gonna change my life and put myself in a position to attract 10 out of 10 women in my life. I made that decision. I put myself in shape. I changed the way I think. I put myself in a position. I applied myself to women. A lot of you guys say you want 10 out of 10 women and all these kind of stuff. I'm gonna keep it a buck. An average guy can go out tomorrow and see a woman and communicate with her and actually talk to a bunch of women and actually have access to a bunch of women. It's just the mentality. A lot of you guys don't have the mentality to actually acquire abundance and good quality women. You guys limit yourself mentally by how you think, how you move, the way you present yourself. A lot of you guys don't even have good hygiene and you expect to attract good quality women. There's a lot I learned from putting myself in a position like by becoming fit, you know, taking care of my hygiene and all these kind of things. There's a lot I learned because I had to put myself mentally there. I had to say, okay, what can I do to make myself more valuable? One thing you guys need to understand is that in the dating world for men, it's not fair. It's not fair. The second you turn 18, your classmates, the girls who you have a crush on, bro, the same girls you have a crush on, the girls that were 17 last year, they have access to men who are in their 30s. They have access to men who are 26, 28, well-established men. And you're just 18, bro. That's why you gotta find a way to close the gap. How can you do that? Get in shape, get fit, work on building your network, work on building your connections, work on increasing your intelligence. I had to put myself in a position. 2 years ago, I was a skinny kid. I thought I knew. But if we're being real, I didn't even know I didn't know shit. That's the realest shit I've said to myself, bro. A lot of the times when you're growing, you're living your life, you believe you know everything. You have a closed mindset. You don't want to open doors because you believe you're in the right position. You believe you're heading the right way. You believe what you're doing is the right option. And I'm here to tell you that it's best to always keep that open mind. And I'm not saying doubt yourself and never take any and never take what you say as important. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to be willing to learn from others. Take the good things out of people. If I could look back at my old times, I'll be like, yes, I wish I had more of an open mind. I wish I wasn't wasting my time. There's a lot of things I did. I got involved in a lot of stupid things. You know, I was doing a lot of criminal activity. But if I could go back in time, I would change my perspective on things. I'll put myself in a position to make money in a positive way where I'm not affecting others. A lot of people just don't want to take other options as a chance. They don't want to take that chance to change who they are for the better, And that's one thing I wish I would have done back in those times. This video, I'm going to be very straight to the point. You guys want to attract 10 out of 10 females, but you're not a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna keep it a buck. All this red pill stuff, and all this excessive stuff. Oh, get fit, fuck a bunch of women. That shit is not really my style. I'm more of just like a become successful, grow with one woman kind of guy. Build yourself mentally. Expect anything to happen. So that woman you're growing with could change on you. Anybody could change on you in your life, but keep a stoic frame. That's more of my kind of beliefs. I don't believe in that red pill, fuck a bunch of women, have this. I believe in actually growing with a woman. But you guys want to attract 10 out of 10 women. It starts in the mind, bro. Because I'm gonna keep it a buck. An average guy could actually have success with gaining abundance with women. I feel like it's the lack of belief people, especially men, have in themselves. You guys doubt yourself too much. You believe you can't acquire the girl. You believe you can't have that 10 out of 10. You believe she's too good for you. When you believe something is too good for you, you limit yourself. You have a scarcity mindset. And there was something I was watching. I forgot who this creator was, but he's a content creator just like I am. But he said something like, someone gave him a Bugatti. This is just an example of how you should change your mindset. Someone gave him a fast car and said he should drive it and park the whip. That mindset, that when you're driving the luxurious car, that you don't want to crash it, you can't afford it. That's the mindset you should take away. You should drive it like it's yours. Drive it with care. Obviously, you take care of your things, but you should have that sense of confidence that this is something that you could obtain. Using that analogy for women, it's like when you're talking to women, all you really need is basic communication skills. Take care of your hygiene, take care of your teeth, take care of your hair, take care of the way you dress. Put yourself in a proper position. You don't even have to be the fittest guys. I've seen a bunch of fat guys who actually pull a bunch of women. It's all up in here, bro. It's all in the mentality. It's all about how you think, how you perceive the world, the confidence you exhibit. When you put yourself in the mindset that you can actually obtain any woman you speak to. And I'm not saying move with cocky or arrogance or have a negative aura, something like that. But when you move with confidence, that women are all over the world, they come in abundance, anything can happen, who cares? Like I think I've said this in one of my videos, that a lot of you guys, when you guys are approaching a girl, you guys imagine your whole life with that woman. You don't even know who she is, but you're already imagining a wedding. You're already imagining having kids. You're already imagining having all these excessive things. I'm here to tell you that, bro, that doesn't make sense. You gotta slow your ass down, bro. You really gotta slow your ass down, because if we're being realistic, when you're approaching a woman, the mindset you should have is she a normal human being? Are me and her compatible? Do we vibe with one another? Can I see myself taking this to the next level, to going on a date with this female? A lot of you guys just already imagining a wedding. You're already imagining your kids. You already named your son, bro. Just off of just looking at a pretty girl. You gotta slow your ass down, bro. And this is why you guys, the second you walk in front of her, you're stuttering and shit. You're like, you don't know what to say, because, bro, you already lived the life with her in your head. Like, calm your ass down. You don't even know the kind of things she likes. You don't even know her favorite food. You don't even know if you guys would have the same beliefs. So basically what I'm trying to say is that it's all in the mentality. You guys got to slow the way you think down. Slow your mentality down, because women are all over this world, bro. You can't have a scarcity mindset. You have to have an abundance mindset. How can you have an abundance mindset? Increasing your status. How can you increase your status? Make more money? Increase your intellect. How can you increase your intellect? Read books. Listen to podcasts. A lot of you guys are so quick to speak, but you don't want to take the time to actually listen to what an intelligent individual has to say to you. I have one thing that I love listening to people. I love listening to what they have to say. I love listening to what they have to offer, But once someone starts saying something really stupid, I tend to block it off. You guys need to learn to filter out what's good. You really need to learn to filter out what's good. How can you filter out what's good? What's positive? Humans naturally have that sense to notice what's positive, and they listen to it. If you notice that someone has good advice for you, take it. If you notice someone has negative advice for you, don't take it. It's common sense. Use your common sense. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is use your brain. If I could go back in time, I would have had this mindset a lot earlier, during when I was in high school, but I would have just listened. There's a lot you can take from listening. Back to the females. Stop having a scarcity mindset. It's that scarcity mindset that's screwing a lot of you guys over. You guys are limiting the way you guys can talk to girls by just having the scarcity mindset. Slow your ass down. Talk to a female calmly. All you gotta be is a human being. She's a human. Communicate with her. You know, you walk up to her, be like, "Hey, how you doing? What's your name?" Simple shit, bro. You know, I remember when I used to suck at talking to females is because I was making that same mistake that I'm telling you guys. I would imagine my whole future with her. I would say, "Oh, this is the best girl I could have. This is the best." Like, bro, slow your ass down, bro. She's not the best girl you can have. These 3 point something billion women on this earth. She is not the best, bro. Slow your ass down. You want a 10 out of 10? You have to filter out negative females. You got to be able to calm down and filter out these females. Not every girl, just because she has a pretty face doesn't mean she's a 10 out of 10. You understand? So, like, basically, being able to have basic communication skills will just take you far. That's why I'm saying, I'm advising you guys, I'm pushing. That's why I always push to read books. But when you read books, you learn more. You learn more words you can use. And I'm not saying take a dictionary and just learn big words and use it randomly. That's not the point. But if you read books, you can actually understand. You've seen different scenarios in the books. You've seen different things happen. So you can use it in your real life, And that's how you can use to talk to females. Because females, I'll tell you this right now, females are the easiest. They fall in love by what they hear. They're the easiest. I'm not saying be a manipulator, but I'm just trying to say, like, if you work on your intellect skills, bro, you be on top of the game. You can walk in the room, there'll be a 6'5" athlete right beside you, but his brain, there's nothing up there, but you have something up here, and you're able to actually talk to females. You're actually able to communicate. I've seen a lot of guys who jack chiseled, bro. They're a Chad, bro. They have everything for them, but they just can't talk to females because they have the scarcity mindset. I really had to put myself in that position, that mindset, because I was just like, bro, I can't have the scarcity mindset. Women are replaceable. You got to have that mindset. So even for those of you guys who are looking for relationships, you got to understand that if your girl is misbehaving, that's why in my last video I said things not to let your girlfriend do. You should set these boundaries at the start of your relationship. If she breaks them, you get away from her, bro. You leave her, you toss her, throw her for the streets, bro. It's that simple. And then you go get yourself a better one. And I'm not saying jump from woman to woman, because your main purpose on this earth is to develop yourself and obviously worship the Lord God. But developing yourself is the main purpose on earth itself. It's not to jump from woman to woman, and always have someone in your life. It's cool to be single. It's cool to be by yourself. It's cool to rock alone. You learn a lot more when you're by yourself. But what you need to understand is that if you want to bring someone into your life, they have to abide by your rules. They have to respect you. And that's vice versa. You got to abide by their rules and you got to respect them. It's that simple. So if I were to summarize this whole video up, I'll tell you, it's all in the mindset. It's all in the mindset. How I started attracting females is that I just had to change my mindset. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter how short you are. If you have a good mindset, you don't have a scarcity mindset, you're confident, you move with rhythm, you have a nice aura, girls will flow your way, bro. You don't got to be a rich millionaire to get females. If anything, there's a lot of broke guys who be getting females. But I am encouraging becoming successful in this channel, so work on yourself, work on your finances. That would definitely help. Girls are attracted to men who can make things happen. Money isn't everything, but everything requires money. So you gotta make sure that's important. That's also one of your top priorities. Stop having a scarcity mindset. And I know I've seen a lot of you guys. You guys are telling me I should make a video on me actually interacting with women. I think I'm gonna post one this weekend. I'm still recording. I've been really busy with work and stuff. Working out in the gym. I've been training. I've been doing all these things. So I really got to see how I'm going to record this video. I still got some more to record. But once I do, I'm going to actually show you guys how I interact with women. How I don't have the scarcity mindset. I'm literally going to walk up down the street. I'm going to go to downtown. I'm going to just talk to a bunch of women of all ages. I'm going to show you. And not every interaction is going to be me just trying to get with them. It's just going to be me trying to have a conversation, and see where it goes. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Humble success. That's all I got to say for y'all. Hope y'all actually absorb this information, and actually take it and use it. Because at the end of the day, I can't do it for you. It's up to you. I'm just advising you. Stay blessed, y'all. Easy.